Hey, everybody, we are back live streaming at FSI. I found out a lot more about FSI this morning. We had this great media breakfast where a lot of the muckety mucks, which I have one of them here today, talked a lot about what FSI is doing. And so Robin Traxler is our guest today. We're going to find out a little bit more about who she is, what she's doing, and how it's going to affect you as an advisor. So, Robin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I've never been described as a muckety muck before.
I have to warn you, I might describe you in ways that you might not have been, but that's just, my charm, I guess,
Looking
or
forward to
not.
it.
But good. Thank you. All right. So tell me, let's just quickly, who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Robin Traxler, and my official title is I'm the Senior Vice President of Policy and Deputy General Counsel at FSI. So I'm really in charge of working on our advocacy priorities and determining what policy positions we're going to take on the items that are a priority to our members.
And how do you find out what those priorities are from the members of FSI?
So you're right. We find out what the priorities are from the members. We really hear what's going on in their lives and their businesses. What are they concerned about? What challenges are they facing? So we have actually a months-long process that starts late in the year where we'll start working with our advocacy team and we'll do an analysis of what we think is coming up in the next year and what might be issues for our members. What do we expect on the legislative front and the regulatory front? And we do an analysis of that and come up with some ideas of what might be priorities. And then we vet those with our members. So through our board of directors, through our volunteer groups like our councils, we'll ask for their opinions. And then we also survey our financial advisor members because we have members who are individual financial advisors running their own small businesses. And so we want to hear from them. What challenges are you facing? What are you hearing from clients?
And there are a lot of them, right?
Right.
There were some numbers this morning. You want to share with what the membership looks like here at FSI?
Yeah, so we have almost 600 people at this event, and we have, I believe, over 30,000 individual financial advisor members.
That's way more. And for those of you who don't know, you can actually, as an advisor, join FSI and feel like you're being a lot more involved in what really matters to you every single solitary day. What came up this morning was really a wide swath of here are what we're hearing, not just from the organizations like broker dealers and organizations like that, but also what's happening with the Main Street advisor. And Robin, one of the things that they said this morning was that your major focus is to try to help that Main Street advisor. What did you guys mean by that?
Yeah, so our members are independent contractors, and so they have a business-to-business relationship with the firms. And this makes them really well positioned to be able to offer a wide variety of products to their clients and services, and it keeps their costs down. And by those cost savings then are passed on to the investor, which allows our members to be able to service those Main Street investors. And of course, they have high net worth clients as well, but they're able to work with the people who are trying to save for their child's college retirement, trying to make sure that they're saving enough for their retirement or their college education. I'm sorry,
Sure.
Save enough for their retirement. Just make sure that if they have an unexpected life event, it's planned for. And it's people like my parents. My parents are retired. My dad was a police officer. My mom was a school aide. They don't need to be working with somebody who works with high net worth clients. They just need somebody that they can talk to that can help them figure out what they need in place. And so that's really what our financial advisor members are doing, are helping people through those life events.
Now, as you heard this morning with one of my questions, which I was really grateful to ask, I'd never been to one of these media things this morning, but I wanted to talk about, so you bridge the gap. I want to dive into that just a little bit more deeply, Robin, if you don't mind. So you, as who you are in the organization, you help communicate from Main Street advisors and people who provide services to the actual people who make the legislation. Is that correct?
Yeah, legislation and regulation, which
Gotcha.
are separate, but yes, separate but related.
Okay. So you are the person who actually sits down and has conversations with like FINRA and the SEC, and then also senators, congressmen, things like that?
Me personally, mostly FINRA and the SEC.
Okay.
We have a team of folks, and so we
Okay.
do have a legislative team that has those conversations on the Hill. But it's all very closely related. The conversations that are happening on the Hill are happening with the regulators as well. Sure. And so we're a very cohesive team, and we all work together on these issues, even though there may be, more legislative component with one issue, and one issue is more regulatory. They all are very interrelated.
All right. What are the big motivate? What are you guys focusing on? So this is the Voice 2022. This is all about what you guys have planned this year. Just give me a couple of things that you guys have major focuses.
So I think the things that your advisor, readers, and listeners are really going to be interested in are, one of them is we're really focused on protecting their independent contractor status.
Okay.
So there's definitely a push in this administration to make people be employees because they can get, the employee benefits and protections that employers bring. And so we're really trying to educate that not everyone wants to be an employee. There are people who choose to be independent for very important reasons, including being able to give access to Main Street Americans, to the access to the advice that they need. And so we're really trying to educate the lawmakers that our members should not be forced into an employment model, that they're properly classified as independent contractors. And in fact, they have chosen to be independent contractors. So that's a major issue.
Okay.
Another major issue that they'd probably be really interested in is just bringing the regulations up to modernize them to the current reality of what's going on and what clients expect from them. So one of the major things that we're doing, which we actually started before the pandemic, but is also very relevant now, is working with the SEC to get relief on the payment of securities commissions to a practice as opposed to an individual.
Oh my.
So clients really expect to be able to go into an office and work with a lot of different experts in a practice. And that's really where the industry is going. Individual independent contractors come together in a practice. And so being able to get their payment of commissions to that practice and then pay their expenses through there is much more efficient and going to be a lot easier for them. So we're really working on that for them. We're also working with regulators to bring the virtual environment, get the regulators to understand that's the reality now and it's going to be the reality. And I do think they do understand that, and it's just a matter of bringing things up to date. So that's really going to affect where you're meeting your clients. Where is your office? Is your office at your desk at home? Are you actually going to an office? That the FINRA branch office definition is impacted by where you're doing business and where you're meeting clients. And so that needs to be looked at and figure out whether we need to modernize that definition to really reflect the current reality of the virtual environment. Okay. We're also working with regulators to currently right now, there's a temporary relief to do office examinations. So your firm has to come in and examine your office. Obviously, that's not safe in a pandemic environment. The regulators have been very understanding about that and have provided temporary relief so that through 2022, you can do those office examinations virtually. Okay. We would love to be able to do that long term. Not necessarily in every office. It's very important that you still physically go into an office and do examinations, but figuring out where it makes sense for virtual examinations and being able to allow firms to do that virtually. And also expecting that the regulators themselves are probably going to be doing some of their own examinations virtually as well.
Okay. And then diversity and inclusion is a huge other component that I heard this morning. And there were some pretty amazing statistics that were rather surprising, that I'm not going to have the exact percentage, but it was well over 50% advisors in this industry are over the age of 50, right? Plus the idea of racial diversity is still, it's not where it needs to be. How are you guys going to help with that component?
So we, I know you spoke with someone else about our partnership with Inroads, so I won't go into a lot of detail about that, but we are working with Inroads to work to get people interested in a career in financial services and get the skills that they need, before they even go to college, getting them interested in those skills, interested in the career, bringing them up. So there's a really important partnership that we announced here with Inroads on that, and that's a huge part of it. With regard to our advocacy priorities themselves, I think the things that go really directly to diversity, equity, and inclusion are going to be our financial literacy priority, as well as our protection of senior investors priority. So really making sure that there's access to financial literacy education, that the lawmakers understand that it's important that people get financial education early on. It'd be great if people are taught financial literacy from a young age, in a curriculum in school. But also, working with our advisors are so smart about this, and they work and live in their own communities, and so they want to go out and teach these kids and younger folks about financial literacy. And so that's really important as well. And then the protection of seniors is important because, you know, we need to protect our senior population. We need to make sure that they're not taken advantage of. And oftentimes the financial advisor is the first line of defense when that happens. They're the first person that understands that something is going on that needs to be looked at by the authorities, or that they need to take a closer look. And so we're really working as a priority to make sure that our members are aware of all of that, that the financial advisors who want to give financial literacy education are able to do that in their communities and are supported by their lawmakers.
Well, as we were preparing for this, you said, I never ever thought in my professional career I would bring up Britney Spears, but this conservatorship is exactly in line with what you were just talking about. And you guys are getting more questions on that, correct?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that the whole idea of a conservatorship is now in the public consciousness. I'm an attorney, so I've known about conservatorships, learned about them in law school, but you know, it's not a flashy issue that people are generally interested in. And the whole Britney Spears issue really brought it to the limelight that there can be issues that caretakers can absolutely take advantage. And this is happening to more people than just Britney Spears. In fact, you know, I just noticed on Twitter that there's a movement now to protect Nichelle Nichols, who was formerly on Star Trek. So people are really understanding that this can be an issue. And I really think this is a great opportunity with this huge limelight on this issue to really shine a spotlight on the exploitation of seniors that takes place all over this country.
All right, Britney Spears reference, Star Trek reference. This has been absolutely fantastic. All right, Robin, thank you very much for everything that you're doing for all the advisors and for all of this wonderful conference. I personally want to thank you as a person who works with financial services professionals every day, that we're really glad that we have people like you in our corner.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So for everybody here at FSI and all of us here at Advisorpedia, Flyer, and Integrated Partners, we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.